Welcome to performance layer of Prism method. This is the very first lecture of performance layer, and today we are sitting together with Greg Smith. Greg is a professional ballroom dancer. He used to be Australian national champion in standard and Latin.
Yes.
Yeah. He used to be Blackpool champion in amateur standard, finalist in professional standard. And after retirement from competitive career, he's been a world-famous judge of all the main events, including World Professional Championships, Blackpool Dance Festival. He has tremendous amount of experience judging for over 35 years. And last but not least, he has been running successfully a dance studio in Netherlands for over 20 years. And the system that he offered in the studio has been adapted to many studios in the Netherlands. And I'm sure that Greg has many followers all over the world, not only following his teaching techniques, but also some of the dance studio running techniques in terms of the educational process that is very important for us today. Greg, welcome. Thank you very much for doing it with us. Yeah. I hope I didn't miss anything in the introduction.
I don't think so. No.
On a personal note, I have to say that I know Greg for probably 17 years. Yeah, and he's been my teacher for many years. We've been in great communication for all this time, and I really appreciate your friendship, your mentorship, your time. And thank you for being here.
Okay.
Yeah. Greg, first question to you would be, is it difficult to be a judge?
Yes.
Because you obviously had an experience of the professional dancer and the judge.
Yes.
And how do you feel about being a judge?
Well, it is very, very difficult. Sometimes you have to make very hard decisions, but that's what you're there for. I remember as an amateur, we won the World Championship, and the next year, straight after we won the World Championship, we turned professional. Then, the next year, I was asked to judge the World Championship. So I was actually choosing the person that would take over the title we had.
It's a huge responsibility, I can imagine. Yeah.
I was so stressed, and because I looked at everything, I was trying to balance everything. And before I put down one mark, I really thought about it and double-checked and triple-checked. And so through that, I finished the World Championship, and I had a massive headache. And I learned later that you have to trust yourself. We have the experience, we've grown up the whole time with all the ideas of our dancing, and not to always double check yourself, just take your own feeling for that.
So it sounds like almost subconscious decision based on trust in your knowledge and experience.
Exactly, yes.
I see. That's very interesting. The goal of today's educational video is for our subscribers to understand how it is to be there from the judging perspective, and how the judge sees them. And we hope that our subscribers, you guys, can take this video and you can perhaps adjust your educational process and your practice while preparing to the next competition with all the information that we got from today's course. And I think it is really important for us not only to be good dancers, but also if we are planning to compete, we have to accept the rules of the competition, the rules of the game, and the judge is one of the important figures during the event. But we're going to talk more about the roles, right, later on today. So I think it's really important to know not only what we're doing, but also how other people and judges perceive us. Because the result will be based on judges' marks. That's the rules of the game. And that information from today from Greg will be very helpful for us to understand how actually judge sees the competitors.
Yes.
This is our goal today. Having said that, I wanted to ask you, are there any judging criteria? Are they official, maybe with some of the federations, or maybe they're unofficial and based on something else?
There are criteria, but then they aren't taught. I've seen lists of people that say, well, you have to judge on this, and first on technique, and then on musicality, and then expression, and they go through the different points. And I think that all the judges eventually just take all of that in and come out with that one decision. And someone with bad footwork, for example, is going to be a problem to have good musicality.
Yeah.
So that the bad footwork will affect their musicality. So it has to go together.
Definitely. But you feel like it's more of a recommendation rather than rules on
Yes,
criteria.
I don't think there's a set rule. That,
Okay.
And I don't think you could use that. That you say, I have to give 50% to technique, and then 30% to musicality or poise, and then so much to musicality and everything. No.
Got it. Do you think it would be helpful to let me rephrase. Do you think it's important to have it kind of enforced, or it doesn't really matter at the end because the amount of time that you have to make the decision is still like very short amount of time?
It is very short, and I know there's different organizations around the world. They ask judges sometimes to just purely judge on footwork, and another on partnering skills, another one on musicality. And I have spoken to some of these judges, and somehow they still, even though they're supposed to just look at footwork, they take everything else into consideration as well.
So the practical application is still more, let's say, old school, I understand. And talking about the history of dancing, when the dancing just started, right?
I wasn't there then. No.
I am aware of that.
Thank you.
Me neither. Yeah.
No, I know
but
that.
we know some of the history that it started as a social event in England, if I'm not mistaken. People were socializing and dancing, and then I think there was, let's say, group of enthusiasts who wanted to take it to the next level, so sort of speak. So then they started to compete against one another, and I guess at some point they needed a judge to judge them because they enjoyed this process, right? Do you feel like that the original judging criteria, they were also like more overall, or they were based on some stricter criteria?
I think they were the same thing, but different people have different priorities. And there's a very famous story about some of the founders of the ballroom was Josephine Bradley. If you look in the technique book, you'll see that her name is mentioned as one of the founders who helped form the technique. And she was judging a competition one time. And after the competition, someone said, well, how did you mark that competition? And she said, well, I saw that this couple, when the man danced away from me, I could see the back of his foot. So he was rolling correctly over his foot. So I marked him first. And then in the tango, I saw another man dancing the tango, and I couldn't see his foot rolling, which is also correct. So I marked him first. So
I was always curious. The necessity of technique book, was it more dictated by people's desire to spread the dancing, or it was a necessity to run competitions, to kind of systematize everything?
I don't think it was for the competitions. The technique book is really for the social dancing.
Just to describe the moves, basically.
The moves, and to build from the start up.
So basically, when people were implementing technique book, practical application, they've been not so much thinking about judges and events and everything like that,
No, no.
just purely about the dance and the motion and
Yes.
everything.
And they analyzed, they had some of the top dancers, and they analyzed it. Well, what do you do here? What do you do there? And they wrote it down.
Before going to the next question, I just wanted to ask you, like, very, very briefly, how much time do you actually have to make a decision when you're judging? Because we know it's a short amount of time, right? But how does it feel to you when you're out there? I understand that right now you have lots of experience, and for sure you have your own way how to make the decision. But I would say, like, on average, like, what do you face as a judge when you are judging, let's say, bigger competition?
The major championships, the first rounds are also very, very difficult because there's more couples on the floor, and you have to really make a quick decision, and therefore the decision is based on sometimes different priorities than later in the competition.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah. Can you make an example of the priorities?
Well, the poise, the shape, that is very, very important in the first round because there's so many couples on the floor. You don't. Some of the couples don't get the chance to have their full movement. Like you and Lilia were always very good movers, so but you would be restricted sometimes in the early rounds.
We can move only as much as we have
the
space available.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So therefore, good shape and keeping that very, very important in the early rounds. Later, when there's more space, then you start to see the moving coming in as well. So you get a different idea.
Yeah, I had from the start of my dancing back in Ukraine, we were always taught as kids. Maybe this has something to do with this Ukrainian school of, you know, bringing up couples. Yeah, but we've been always taught you have to know the syllabus, you have to know the technique and everything. But posture and poise definitely comes before everything else. So once you're on time, you must have good posture, because they've been telling us you're going to compete at like Junior Blackpool and there are 200 couples. And no matter how good and talented you are, people just won't see you because the judge will not be able to, you know, to see you, to mark that. So with the good posture and poise, it's kind of same as you're saying right now.
For
so
sure, posture and poise, but even when you walk onto the floor.
Okay.
Not just when you take hold, walking onto the floor, that we're standing there, you know, you can impress the judges or you can have a negative idea from the judge.
So before the dance actually starts, you are already looking at potential couples that are going to...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is, you know, we're human. So we don't close our eyes and wait until the music starts and say, now we judge. No, you can get influences all the time. You can also get influences by the way some people react off the floor. Also, if someone is angry with their partner or they're having you see some couples have a fight on off the floor.
And the judge can see it.
The judge can see it sometimes. So
yeah, this is really important to know, because in my experience, many dancers that are just starting their careers, or some amateur students dancing with professionals, they would be focused only when the music starts.
Yeah.
And then as the music stops, even they're in the middle of the floor, they allow themselves to conduct in a certain way.
Yes.
Sloppy, let's say,
yes.
right? To say the least. And they let the stress get in. And yeah, I always tell people that I teach, Lilia teaches, we always say that even you walk onto the floor, you have to conduct yourself certain way. Yeah. So sure. you are proving this point, and I'm very happy to hear it. But at the same time, it's a much longer time bracket of responsibility when you're a competitor. So not just to dance, but to walk in, to walk off, to be in the ballroom as well, right?
There's a saying that you only get one chance to make the first impression.
It's hard to challenge that saying.
And it's true.
Yeah.
And if you make a bad impression, it's harder to win the judge over. When you make a good impression, it's easier.
One more question related to this subject. Have you ever encountered in your judging lifetime that the first, let's say the couple is walking onto the floor and looking not very exciting, but when they start dancing, they really change your
Yes.
impression, and you really are falling in love with that movement and everything like
Sure.
that. So
Yes.
that is possible too.
Yes. And it's also possible that that you judge a competition and you don't mark a couple into the final. You think, no, no. And in the final, they dance fantastic. They change. Maybe they have more space. Maybe something else clicks or something, and they dance a great final. And you mark them first.
Yeah.
And then they say, but you didn't mark me into the final.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you danced differently.
Yeah. I feel so. I would say that for competitors, it's very important to understand that each dance, each round, is a blank page,
Yes,
right?
for sure.
Even if something is not going well in the previous dance round, you still have a chance, and judge is kind of rooting for you to succeed in a way, right?
Of course. Yeah.
I always feel like being a judge is a huge responsibility and stress, but at the same time, it's kind of a positive activity because you guys are looking for something good to mark, right? Because you are wired by the rules to mark something good and not to let's say note something bad, right? Even though you can see good and bad.
Yes.
So it's kind of a positive activity for.
Well, there's two
Would
ways.
you agree with that?
I agree. Sometimes you mark in a positive way. You see a couple that great movement or great things, and you think, well, yeah, definitely. Or another time where you might have two couples, and you don't know which one to mark.
Then you can use.
And that one makes a mistake, so then that sort of helps you in your decision making.
But that's a different level of comparing, let's say. But the very basic level is you're looking for something good.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're seeing a lot good.
Yeah.
If
you guys are feeling that judges are more of a villains to you in your system, right? This is really the proof, and I would always believe in that actually judges are trying to find something good rather than something bad, primarily, and then we go from there.
Well, we've been in dancing so long, we love dancing. If we didn't really love
wouldn't
it,
be judging.
we wouldn't be doing
Of course,
it.
yeah.
And we just love to see good dancing.
Yeah, this is very inspiring.
Yeah.
Do you feel like dancing has evolved in the last 40 years or not?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
If I may ask you how it has evolved in your opinion, and possibly if you can answer to the question why it has evolved. Were there any maybe specific reasons that gave that push?
Well, I think there's many things. If it doesn't develop, it's not good, I feel. If you stand still, it's not going to be a success. Dancing has been a success for so long, but it develops the shape of the position of the hold, the movement is more dynamic, the expression, there's different steps have come into it. There's a lot, also the physicality, I think that much more aware of the diet, how to perform. There's other things have come in to help people get their performance at a higher level. So yes, definitely evolved.
I personally feel like there is much more knowledge that became more accessible for everybody because of the internet and just connectivity in the last, 30 years or so, right? So I feel like the modern technology also influenced dancing quite a lot in many ways, right? Because when you have so much information, free access to you, sometimes it's hard to filter what is correct, what is incorrect, and just like with anything else, not just dancing. But I do feel like one of the major pushes were that people have more access to information. Would you agree with that?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Do you feel like there should be some quality control in this case, or the quality control? I'm talking about what is put what has been put out there online.
I don't think you can control what
Yeah,
goes online.
I think it's impossible to. Yeah, but
that's another question. There's a lot of fake stuff going out there.
yeah.
But so I don't see the possibility for that. But quality control is always uppermost. It's very important.
In a way, it judges the quality control, right? Whatever you got online, you can check at the.
Well, quality is such an important aspect. Quality of footwork, quality of musicality, quality of poise. All these things are so important.
How do you feel about since we had COVID-19 pandemic? Many things were shut down in many countries.
Yes.
And lots of things went online at that time, like 100%, really. How do you feel that the online base is still existing, or and it will be some part of our life in the future as well, if we're talking about the dance instruction, let's say online, or you feel like this was just a trend during the COVID and maybe it's not going to be there?
I think we've become much more aware of it. I myself, I was doing, all of a sudden we were in the pandemic at home and doing Zoom lessons. And that is a thing that has come very big now. And it helps the couples that don't have to travel always. They can still have the Zoom lessons. You can focus in on that. And I know many of my colleagues are doing that as well. Oh, yes.
Yeah. I also do have, I mean, we have experience with our platform, obviously, and then we got some of the students that we teach only online, and then seeing them once in a while in real life.
Yeah.
And I have to say that with the right communication skill, it is proven in our experience to be helpful for the student, because we do see the growth and the development of their technique and just dancing overall.
No, true. It's very helpful. And also, I'm chairman of the BDF International, and even the meetings with Zoom makes it a lot easier than having to always be all together. So
let's see. Yeah. So we can say that the internet basically was maybe one of the reasons why dancing evolved, as well as other things, in a way.
Yeah.
Right. And just coming from Ukraine, and Ukraine used to be a part of USSR for many years, so people were not allowed to travel. And information was inaccessible, basically, right? So I can say that in Ukraine, the big push for ballroom dancing was when the Iron Curtain fell, people were allowed to travel and make up their own plans and decisions and educate themselves. Obviously going to England, taking lessons to Germany, other countries, Western countries. So that was a big push. But the other big push was YouTube. Because many young dancers, they would be so much in love with dancing, and then sometimes just like watching videos, and I am talking for myself as well, right? When I found out that there is an internet and I can go on YouTube and see like my favorite dancers dancing, even though there were no instructional videos like we have right now. Yeah, I was quite impressed and inspired, and I think that gave me more motivation to keep going, because I could see how it can look, and I liked what I was seeing.
Well, in my lifetime, when I was competing, I judged a competition in Denmark, and it was the very first time that a Russian couple was dancing in the West. They had the ambassador from England, from Denmark, and from Russia. All there.
This is after 1991?
Sorry?
After 1991?
No, this was about, I would think 85 or something.
85, okay.
Yeah, something like that. And that was Stanislav Popov. And of course, he hadn't been up, but he came up to me and shook my hand and said, "Hello, Mr. Smith." And I said, "Have we met?" And he said, "No, but I've seen your video." Because in Russia, they couldn't see that on TV, but he went to a certain place, they could see the videos of the competition that we danced in England. and he was said, I have your first group in waltz and I have some of your tango. So that was the information they got, just looking at but didn't know exactly how to do it. They just took that. That was the...
And really, without the right technology in terms of the knowledge about dancing, it's really hard to copy.
Exactly.
Copy can bring you to the certain level, but you can't achieve really very, very high level just by copying.
No.
So the knowledge is the power.
Yeah.
And accessible knowledge is even better, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I was always curious from judges' perspective and just from your personal point. In this set of in the competition setting, right, where we have event, we have couples, participants, we have judges, right? We have organizers, we have audience, and the general, I would say, like ambiance, but like atmosphere, let's say, right? That is being created there. How do you feel like, what is the role of the judge and the competitor there? What is the best way for competitors to perform well at the event? Do they need to focus more on each other, on the couple, like internally within the couple? Do they need to focus more and maybe get into the atmosphere of the event, of like the lights, what's happening on the dance floor and the music? Do they need to interact more with the audience? Maybe they want to just go there and strictly think about, this is my steps, that's the judge, or like 11 judges, 13 judges, right? So I'm just doing it for the judges. I don't care how people see me. I just need to, I know the rules of the game and I'm just playing by the rules. What is your take in that? Because I was thinking about this whole crazy setting that we have when we're competing. We really have to multitask and we have to think about many things at the same time, and many things influence us.
But women can multitask, I'm not sure.
Well, I'm the rare example of man, I believe, that can also multitask. This is my feminine side. But we do have so many things involved during the competition. It's a huge stress as well, right? It's not normal, it's abnormal to compete, basically, right? We're superhumans. But how do you see this organism?
Well, I think what you said, the basic thing is you're doing it for the pleasure of dancing, expressing a movement to music with your partner. So for me, it's the dancing together with your partner.
Number one.
And that will shine out, and that enjoyment and that presentation and that feeling will be done and seen by the judges. So that's the most important. And when it's sort of fake or not real, you'll have reasonable success, but it won't be the top.
Do you sense when the couple has not just good interaction between themselves, but also with the audience? Can audience be the factor that would influence your decision as a judge to mark couple to the final, or in the final to give them a good placement there?
No, the audience reaction to the couple can inspire the couple to perform better. That's true. But it won't affect my marks.
Okay.
If they dance better, yes, it will affect the marks. But if it's just, I judged the World Championship in Germany one time, and the audience were
German.
fully German, and they were for the German couple.
And
they were shouting and shouting and shouting, and I still marked actually the English couple first. So and they didn't, they weren't happy with me, but that's. So that's.
You need a couple of security guards to.
Well, yes. But that's the whole idea. When you judge, you're asked to give your opinion. And when you judge Blackpool, you're asked to judge without fear or favor, and not with the results from the week before. You have to judge with fear or favor, and just judge what you're seeing on that moment.
Got it. When you judge throughout the year, let's say, right? Definitely you see some couples more often than others, right? Like all the, I don't know, famous couples, finalists, you judge in the main events and you see their dancing. Are you able to register maybe their improvement and their progress from one competition to another? Somewhere, at least subconsciously or something like that.
Maybe that you think, but everyone has better times than others. So I don't know whether I see, in some couples I definitely see improvement and development, and other ones I think that they always give a good performance. So,
But you're able to sense that improvement,
yes,
right?
yeah.
I was told when I was younger, probably when I was dancing like youth under 19, something like that, they said if you as a couple want to be seen and have better results, one of the strategies would be to pick like few good competitions, or depending on level. In my case, were like good competitions, strong. And then see who is judging there, and then try to pick at least 2 or 3 other competitions, so with a more or less same judging panel. So those people can see you throughout the year, and hopefully you are improving, and so they see the improvement, so they will know you better. Would you agree with this tactics, or it's irrelevant?
I don't know whether it's all that important. I think you judge on the night, and sometimes all of a sudden you see a couple and you think, wow, where have they been? Fantastic. And yeah, so.
And you're not afraid to judge that couple well?
No.
Yeah.
No. You have to be. I know, I feel for myself, we danced when we won Blackpool, where with my partner, we're from Australia. So we were the Australian champions. We're dancing at Blackpool. And at the time, we weren't expected to win. Ahead of us was 2 English couples. Both of those couples were world champions. So we were being judged by 11 English
Judges.
professionals, and we still won. So I believe if you have the performance, you get the result.
I did have, on a smaller scale, that was not Blackpool, but me and Lilia, we did have similar experience where, in our perception, we were dancing like at the nest of the enemy, let's say, right? I tend to exaggerate things. And we got the first place in the settings that for us, before the competition and during the competition, was like, it was unlikely that we can win, but we actually did. And it gave us a huge boost of confidence and motivation to keep going. But most of all, it proved us that everything is possible. And sometimes our preconception of things are just our preconception of things. That's not how the judges are. Some of the competitors, I would hear that, and also sometimes from my students, and I try to stop it immediately, because I don't believe in that. But sometimes I would think the same way when I was competing. They would say like this judge hates me. Because before, he or she would be not judging me well, and I would be 3rd, and he or she would judge me 6th, and not giving me the place in the final. How would you comment on
That's
that?
That's the thing. When you don't mark a couple, doesn't mean you don't like the couple. That's the thing. We like mostly all of the
like
couples.
Everybody.
But sometimes personally you have those feelings. But just because you don't mark them doesn't mean you don't like them.
I see.
And that's a
very important.
Very important
because
point.
I do feel that many couples are making the decisions for their dance career, and sometimes important decisions, with the mindset that that judge hates me for some reason. I very much, even though I used to think that way occasionally, but very much I feel the same way, because, especially right now since we have retired, right? It's a different perspective. I don't think there is a reason for anyone to hate anybody, really.
Please believe that all the judges are human.
Yes, of course. In your opinion, this can be very like subjectively, really, right? But like, with your background, your personality, with your name, out of the 7 layers of Prism method, right? What do you feel? Maybe not taking the personalization, because if someone has that, it's very powerful. What do you feel for you if I would ask you to prioritize? What would be the layers that you would be prioritized slightly more than others?
It changes at different levels, and which competition. If it's a low-level competition, of course, I think what we mentioned earlier, posture and poise, even when you walk onto the floor, as one of my teachers used to always say, at least look like a dancer.
Okay.
Before you move. Try to look like a dancer. That's the first thing. Then you have to move. Then to move, you have to have the technique.
Yeah.
If you do the wrong technique, you won't move correctly. Then you add that on to the musicality of it. So yeah, it's difficult to say that one is more important than the other, but yeah, it has to start with the poise.
But it looks like what you just answered, and if I may just comment that I know you for quite a long time, right? Yeah, I feel like your priority would be more, just like you said, posture and mechanics.
Yeah.
Syllabus, we assume, if you are competing, like you are good with the, yeah, if you're doing the footwork mistakes, that's
Yeah, well, syllabus, if it's a low-level competition, you have to stay in the syllabus.
Yeah.
So if you do another step that's not in the syllabus, that's also bad for the competition.
But I think I know, again, observing you from the outside and knowing your taste, you are always looking for a like well-balanced, beautiful couple, like the ultimate couple. If somebody has like an average posture but very good musicality, I don't think that will excite you more than having more or less all the layers on the same level. This is just my, the way I see you, at least.
Yeah. This is where you have the problem, the quandary with judging. If you say, okay, you have one with very good technique and not so much musicality, and then you have another one with wonderful musicality and not so good technique, then you're balancing it. Which is the advantage over it.
Yeah,
so
it's a hard decision to make, especially with the limited time. Yeah. When you hear performance layer, right? What are the main points that coming up to your mind as a judge? What would you suggest to couples to work on if they're strictly working on performance? We understand the way they walk on and off, the way they conduct themselves. Any other points you would be?
Well, physicality as well. You have to work on when a judge looks at you in the beginning of the dance and you keep that poise and you move well, but because your stamina towards the end of the dance, you lose your poise, you lose your movement together, then you can have a bad mark with that part of it. So stamina is also very, very important.
Floorcraft, perhaps?
Yeah, well, also, the more you have to, if you hit people and everything, and you have to have a problem with floorcraft, then it also takes your stamina away. So,
do you feel like, let's say this couple of points that we have just mentioned, should couples be, is it a skill or is it a talent, let's say, to have all of that?
I've talked,
on average.
On average, I've talked to a lot of world champions, top dancers, and many say maybe 20% talent and 80% dedication.
So it's more of a skill. Yeah. What would you say if I come to your lesson and I would tell you, well, I will just improvise, like, and do something with my routine or on the floor or something like that. What would be your reaction to that?
Good luck.
Okay. Yeah. I would say more or less the same. Yeah.
And be happy and enjoy your dancing, but don't always expect to have a good result.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the successful improvisations when you were judging? And if yes, how often does that happen? I have seen in my lifetime maybe one I remember for sure, maybe twice, to be.
I don't know whether, not very often for sure.
So improvisation is not something we can rely on if we're talking about competing and performing.
Well, I wasn't sure whether it was improvisation. I saw one couple, very good couple, professional, and they were dancing the competition, and I thought they were going to hit another couple. And all of a sudden, it was quick step, and they broke hold,
disconnected and connected,
and went round the couple and took hold. I thought in the beginning that was improvisation. I thought, wow, fantastic. But through the competition, I watched, and then I realized it wasn't improvisation. They were looking for a slower couple to be able to do that. And that's why I didn't mark them, because I thought, no, that's the wrong thing.
I see. Me and Lilia, we know some people from the theater world, acting, right?
Yes.
And they told us that actors say that the best improvisation is the one that I practiced for
The
2
most,
years.
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it looks in a way you have to trick people that it looks like it's improvisation and effortless, but it's well prepared, right?
It's funny how lucky you get when you practice a lot.
Yeah. Talking about good luck, right? Yeah. Any funny stories or experiences that you have encountered as a judge at the competitions that you can share with us? You remember?
Yeah, I've been on the floor and I've been hit by couples with bad floor craft. That's not a good impression for a judge when you get hit.
Is it an immediate no if that happens for you in terms of your mark?
No, it can be caused by another couple getting in the way, and that can happen. But a couple with bad floor craft, or a couple that doesn't want to use floor craft, as you know, we've all seen couples on the floor that think the floor is for them, and they're not going to get out of the way of other people, and they do hit people. Straight away, a bad result from me. I'm sorry. This is.
How do you think we can practice performance before the competition somehow, or we can only practice it during the competition? How can we develop that skill in ourselves?
I think you can practice performance all the time. Again, speaking to some of my teachers and some of the people, world champions, and asked, when did you really feel that it all came together and you gave the best performance? And sometimes they felt maybe in their lifetime, maybe 10 times. Sometimes one time at a practice when there was hardly anybody there, one time at a small studio with a small demonstration, and other times at Blackpool maybe. So, But about judging, I remember when we first turned professional, we were asked to go to a school in England to demonstrate. And they said, could you also judge the school competition? So we said, yeah, sure. And the lady said, we sat on the stage before it was going to start, and she said, my daughter is dancing in this competition as well. I said, oh, I'm sure. Congratulations, I'm sure she'll be fine and everything. And she said, yes. She said, but I don't want to tell you who it is. I said, oh, that's very good. And about 5 minutes later, she said, do you see that boy over there? I said, yeah, oh, that boy, yeah. She said, that's my daughter's partner.
Okay.
So
this is pretty awkward.
But the daughter and the partner were the ones that had competition clothes on and had the best shape, and that was totally.
So it was easy.
It was very, very easy. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so we are going to wrap up. Thank you very much for your time. I think not many, but everything you said was really important. And I know that we have answered many questions that our subscribers have, and just in general, dancers all over the world. And I think having this confirmation from you is extremely valuable for them. So they can take it to the next level during their practice, preparation for the events and things like that.
Yes.
Thank you, Greg. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. and I wish everybody fun with their dancing. Enjoy the dancing, because that's what's the whole idea about it.